My name's Adrian, 52 years old, and believe me when I say I didn't choose this life. Life chose it for me. Just a few years ago, I was sitting in a corner office wearing $1,000 suits, negotiating deals over six figures. Now, I drive Uber. Full time. That morning started like any other. I was fueling up my car, sipping on burnt gas station coffee, mentally bracing for another day of pickups, small talk, and Google Maps rerouting me through chaos. But something in the air felt off, like the universe was brewing something just for me, something I wasn't ready for. My phone buzzed. Ping. A new ride. Downtown pickup. Name, Damien. No photo, no bio. Just a name. As I pulled up to the sleek glass building, out stepped a man I hadn't seen in years, but would never forget. Damien, my former colleague. No, my former boss. The guy who fired me 3 years ago in front of the entire office. Public humiliation. No warnings. No mercy. I felt my throat tighten as he strutted toward the car, scrolling on his phone, oblivious. Expensive suit. Rolex glistening. That same smug face that once told me, some people just aren't meant to succeed. He opened the door, barely looking up. Adrian, wow, this is cute. He smirked. Didn't think I'd see you again, like this. I clenched the steering wheel, forcing a polite smile. Yeah, life's full of surprises. The moment the wheels started moving, so did his mouth. Man! From spreadsheets to steering wheels. What a downgrade. You know, not everyone's built for the corporate world. Some people are just drivers, I guess. He chuckled, tapping away on his phone. No offense. No offense? My blood boiled, but I kept quiet. I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction, but as fate would have it. Oh, fate wasn't done yet. Halfway through the ride, his phone rang. Loud, aggressive. Damien's entire expression shifted, from cocky to pale. He stared at the screen like it was a ghost calling him. He hesitated, then answered. What? No, that can't be right. What do you mean frozen accounts? His voice cracked. No, listen. You can't do this. No, I have a meeting in 20 minutes. He started sweating, profusely, fingers trembling, hands on his head. No, this can't be happening. I glanced at him through the rear view. Whatever just dropped on him hit harder than a brick wall. Then, he pulled out his laptop, typing frantically, cursing under his breath. Come on, connect, work, damn it. But the next words he muttered, I'll never forget them. Adrian, listen, I need your help, please. I don't know who else to call right now. Imagine that. The same man who mocked me for being a driver was now begging like a dog. And that was just the beginning. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, pretending not to hear him at first. Part of me wanted to enjoy that silence, the awkward, suffocating silence of someone whose whole world was collapsing. But curiosity got the better of me. Help? With what exactly? I asked, keeping my eyes on the road but glancing at him through the rear view. Damien's hands were shaking. His perfectly styled hair was already a mess. Adrian, listen. This is serious. Someone's freezing my accounts. The company servers are down. Emails aren't going through. I've got a critical investor meeting in less than 15 minutes. And if I don't show up, it's over. Years of work. Gone. I kept my tone neutral. And you want me to? He leaned forward like a desperate man clutching for air. I know you. You were one of the best analysts in the company. You always knew how to fix things, how to problem solve. Look, I messed up with you back then, okay? I said some things, did some things. But right now, I need someone who actually knows how to think under pressure. I don't have anyone else. The audacity. This man who once laughed as he signed my termination papers, now begging in the backseat of my Uber. But then, something shifted in me. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about power, the kind of power I never thought I'd have. Damien, I said slowly, pulling over into a quiet side street. I turned to face him fully. Let me get this straight. The guy who once told me, you're just not leadership material, now wants my leadership? From the driver's seat. His eyes darted, jaw clenching. Look, I get it. I was an ass. I treated you like crap. But Adrian, if I don't close this deal, Everything's gone. My firm, my clients, my reputation. I can't even access my systems. My CTO's not answering. My IT guy disappeared and he stopped, swallowing hard. I think someone's sabotaging me. There it was. The confession. I stared at him for a moment. Sabotage, huh? Sounds messy. It is. And you were always the guy who figured out messy things. He practically whispered it. Help me and I'll pay. Name your price. I smirked. Name my price. That was rich. But before I could even reply, a black SUV sped past us, then slammed the brakes, blocking the road ahead. Damien's face went ghost white. No. Not them. Not now. I glanced at him. Who, exactly, is them? He ducked down in the seat. Drive. Drive, Adrian. Now. And without thinking, my foot hit the gas. Yeah, I was just the Uber driver. But now, I was driving straight into something way bigger than either of us could imagine. Tires screeched as I swerved into the nearest alley, dodging trash bins and potholes. The SUV behind us wasn't playing around. They followed, accelerating hard. I glanced at Damien. He was crouched so low in the back seat, you'd think the floorboards could swallow him whole. Who are they? I snapped, cutting a sharp left. Just drive, please, he shouted, voice cracking. I'll explain, just lose them. Adrenaline surged. My hands gripped the wheel tighter than ever. I wasn't just driving anymore. I was in survival mode. Years of navigating gridlocked city traffic paid off. I knew every backstreet, every hidden alley, every shortcut that Google Maps wouldn't dare suggest. I zigzagged through narrow lanes, narrowly missing a delivery truck. The SUV kept closing in. You better start talking, Damien, I growled. Who did you screw over? He gulped. I was handling money for a private investor. Big money, offshore accounts. They trusted me to move things around. His voice trembled. But I took a little off the top. I thought they wouldn't notice. I shot him a glare in the rear view. Are you insane? I didn't think it was a big deal, just temporary, until the market bounced back. The SUV rammed my back bumper, hard. The whole car jolted. Damien screamed, Faster, man! Come on! I spotted a construction site ahead. No road, just dirt, pipes, and scaffolding. Perfect. I gunned it straight toward it. Damien panicked. What are you doing? There's no road. Exactly. I twisted the wheel, barreling through the site. Dust flew everywhere. The SUV hesitated, then stopped. They didn't dare follow me into the maze of machinery and half-dug trenches. I slowed the car behind a cement barrier, engine rumbling. Both of us sat there, breathless. Adrian, thank you. Thank you, man, Damien stammered. His hands were shaking, wiping sweat off his forehead. You saved my life. I turned to him, stone-faced. We're not done. He blinked. What? You said your accounts are frozen, systems down, sabotage. You need help fixing that. I crossed my arms. So here's the deal. You pay me, triple what you ever paid me back at that company, and you come clean about why this is happening. All of it. His mouth opened, but no words came out. For the first time, Damien wasn't the one holding the power. I was. Before he could respond, his phone buzzed again. Another call. This time, he didn't answer. He just stared at the screen, paralyzed. His face drained of color. I leaned over. Who is it? He whispered, almost inaudibly. It's not over. It's never over with them. And just like that, I realized this wasn't just about frozen accounts or bad investments. This was about survival. The ringing stopped. Damien sat frozen, phone in hand, staring into nothing. His lips moved like he was praying. Quiet, desperate. I finally broke the silence. Start talking. Who are they? What did you do? He took a shaky breath. Adrian, these aren't regular investors. These are people you don't say no to, people who don't call lawyers. They collect debts in their own way. I narrowed my eyes. How much? 2.4 million. His voice barely came out. I was supposed to flip it. Fast deals, high returns. But the market tanked. Then I tried covering the hole with another client's money. Then another. I slammed the steering wheel. Damien, you idiot. You turned your company into a Ponzi scheme. I didn't mean for it to spiral. I thought I could fix it before anyone noticed. He buried his face in his hands. But this morning, someone tipped them off. That's when the accounts froze. That's when the messages started. I shook my head. And now you dragged me into this mess. He shot me a panicked look. Adrian, please, you're smart. Smarter than anyone I ever worked with. I need a way out. You help me, I swear. I'll cut you in. I'll pay you anything. Just get me out of this. I took a deep breath, thinking fast. First, we need to throw them off. Lose the trackers. Check your phone, your laptop. Anything that could have GPS or spyware. He fumbled with his phone, trembling. I don't even know how. Of course you don't, I muttered. I reached back, grabbed his phone, yanked the battery out. Give me the laptop. He passed it forward. I opened it, scanned for obvious remote access tools, and there it was. A remote desktop app running in the background. Someone was watching his every move. Damien, you didn't even notice this? I hissed. I didn't know. I was so focused on the money. I yanked the Wi-Fi dongle out, smashed it against the dashboard, then closed the laptop. We're dark. For now. Damien's hands were shaking like leaves. Okay. What now? I started the car again, pulling out of the construction site. Now, we buy time. I know a guy, tech wizard, off the grid. If anyone can wipe your digital footprint, it's him. Damien's eyes widened. You really know someone like that? I shot him a glare. You think Uber's my only gig. But as I turned the corner back onto the main road, a second black SUV was already waiting. Engine running. Windows tinted. Damien gasped. No. Not again. Buckle up, I said, tightening my grip on the wheel. This isn't over. And in that moment, I realized this was no longer just his fight. It was mine too. The SUV revved, headlights glaring like two angry eyes. My fingers clenched the wheel. Damien was hyperventilating behind me, gripping the door handle like it was a life raft. Adrian, please, you gotta lose them. If they catch me, it's over. You don't understand how these people operate. Oh, trust me, I muttered, dropping the gear into drive. I'm starting to get a pretty clear picture. The SUV lunged forward. I floored it. Tires screeched as my car bolted down the boulevard, weaving between stunned pedestrians and honking traffic. Left, go left, Damien shrieked. Shut up. I know this city better than Google ever will. I darted down a side street, skipping a red light, then hooked a sharp right onto an industrial road lined with warehouses. The SUV was relentless. Whoever was behind the wheel wasn't some hired thug. They knew how to drive. Every turn I made, they matched. Every gap I slipped through, they closed tighter. This isn't gonna work, I gritted. We can't outrun them forever. Damien's hands flailed. Then what? You got some magic plan? A plan? Yeah, I did. Not magic, just reckless. I spotted an underground parking garage ramp, old, half abandoned. No cameras, no gates. Perfect. I yanked the wheel, drifting down the ramp. My tires kissed concrete as I killed the headlights. We disappeared into the shadows. The SUV skidded past the entrance, flying right by without noticing. For a few blessed seconds, silence. Both of us sat there, chest heaving. Damien was the first to speak, voice barely above a whisper. Adrian, you saved my life. Again. Don't get sentimental. You're not off the hook. I checked my phone, then his. No signals, no pings, no trackers. We've got about 15-20 minutes before they circle back. So you better start talking everything. His eyes darted, shaking his head. I already told you. All of it. My voice was iron. Who set you up? This wasn't random. Someone pulled the rug out from under you. And they knew exactly when to do it. Damien swallowed. His hands trembled. It was Alex. I blinked. Alex? As in your COO? Yeah, he whispered. I trusted him. Thought he was loyal. Turns out, he'd been working with them for months, feeding them info, waiting for the right moment to gut me. I leaned back, exhaling. Unbelievable. He was the quiet one, the one nobody ever suspected. Damien laughed bitterly. Yeah, well, that's always how it is, isn't it? The quiet ones stab the deepest. I stared ahead, processing it all. All right, then we flip the script. You've still got access to anything. Maybe one account. Offshore. Buried deep. Good. My mind raced. Because if we're going to survive this, we need to hit them before they hit us. Damien blinked. Wait, you mean... Yeah. I cracked my knuckles. It's time we stop running and start playing offense. And right there, in the dark, musty basement of that parking garage, the driver became the hunter. The air inside the parking garage felt suffocating, heavy with tension and engine fumes. Damien paced like a caged animal, chewing on his fingernail. I sat behind the wheel, head spinning with calculations, routes, options, risks. All right, I said, cutting through the silence. Tell me about the offshore account. Where? How much? Who has access? Damien nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. It's in the Caymans, under a shell company. Sunrise Holdings. Only me and Alex had the keys to it. At least that's what I thought. Let me guess, I said. Alex pulled his copy of the keys when he flipped on you. Exactly. But I still have partial access. Enough to move. Maybe 700 grand. The rest, locked. I rubbed my jaw. 700 isn't enough to pay them off. I know. Damien sank against the car door. But it might be enough to disappear. I turned to face him, eyes sharp. Is that your plan? Run? Hide? He didn't answer, but the look on his face told me everything. Yeah, I scoffed. That's what I thought. No, Adrian, you don't get it, Damien shot back, suddenly desperate. These people, they don't stop. You don't negotiate with them. You don't buy time. You vanish, or you end up 6 feet under. This isn't a fight. It's survival. I stared at him, feeling the weight of his words. He wasn't wrong, but he wasn't right either. Maybe you run, I said quietly. But I don't. He frowned. What are you talking about? I don't run, Damien. Not anymore. I sat up straighter. You remember why you fired me? Because I wasn't aggressive enough? Or because I wasn't a shark? Because I actually had integrity? I leaned in closer. Well, guess what? Integrity doesn't make you weak. It makes you dangerous when you've got nothing left to lose. His mouth opened, then closed. No words. Here's what we do, I continued. We hit Alex, hard. We expose him. You've still got documents, right? Emails, contracts, logs. Anything that shows how he set you up. Damien's eyes flickered. Maybe. Yeah. There's a backup server. I forgot about it. Old. Off the grid. Only I know about it. It's in my storage unit uptown. Perfect. I started the engine. We get those files. We leak everything. Full exposure. If these people see that Alex is as much of a liability as you are, they'll turn on him. Maybe. Just maybe. That buys you time. Damien stared. That's risky. Yeah, I smirked. Welcome to my world. He sighed, rubbing his face. All right, storage unit it is. But if this goes south, I shifted into gear. Then we go south, fast. As we pulled out of the garage, something hit me. Just hours ago, Damien mocked me for being a driver, a guy who he thought had hit rock bottom. Now, I wasn't just driving. I was steering both our lives, straight into the fire. The city skyline blurred past as I sped toward uptown. Damien fidgeted beside me, glancing nervously at every passing car. He was unraveling, and fast. We're almost there, he muttered, staring out the window like he expected shadows to jump out at him. Unit 317, Blue Ridge Storage. You turn into the back lot. No cameras. It's secure. Secure, huh? I raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? He hesitated. It was back then. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it ring. Instinct told me not to answer. A few seconds later, Damien's phone buzzed too. Same number. He stared at it, hands trembling. They're tracking us. Relax, I said. Phones are wiped. No GPS. They're guessing. Trying to spook you. But deep down, even I wasn't sure. We pulled into the back lot of Blue Ridge Storage. Rusted gates, flickering lights, a forgotten corner of the city. Damien hopped out, practically sprinting toward the unit. I followed close behind, scanning every corner, every shadow. Here, here. He fumbled with the lock, hands trembling so bad he could barely turn the key. Come on, come on. Finally, the door groaned open. Inside, stacks of old servers, boxes of documents, dusty monitors from another decade. There, he pointed to a beige beat-up tower in the corner. That's the backup server. I knelt down, popping the side panel. You better pray this thing still works. Damien frantically searched through boxes. There should be a portable drive. Somewhere. Seconds turned to minutes. My pulse thumped in my ears. I knew we didn't have long. Got it! Damien yanked out a hard drive, blowing off layers of dust. Here, plug it in. I connected it, firing up the server. Fans whirred. Lights flickered. For a moment it felt like it was going to die on the spot. Then, green. It booted. Lines of data scrolled across the screen. Emails, contracts, payment trails. And there it was. The smoking gun. A folder labeled Alex, Contingency. I opened it. Screenshots, audio files, videos, documents, everything. Proof of Alex laundering money through third-party shell companies. Proof of him feeding insider info to the very people now hunting Damien. I looked up at Damien. You didn't even know you had this, did you? He shook his head, stunned. I forgot I kept backups of everything. I copied everything to the drive. This changes the game. But just as the progress bar hit 90%, headlights flooded the storage unit. A car. No, a van. Blacked out. Sliding door cracking open. Figures stepping out. Damien's face went sheet white. No, they found us. I ripped the hard drive out mid-transfer. Forget it. We move. Now. Where? I grabbed his arm, pulling him toward the back exit. Anywhere but here. Behind us, footsteps pounded the concrete. Voices, muffled but sharp. Find them, now. Yeah, we weren't just running for money anymore. We were running for our lives. I dragged Damien through the back exit, boots pounding against the cold concrete. The van doors slammed behind us. Footsteps grew louder. They were closing in. Adrian, where? Damien gasped, tripping over himself. There! I pointed to a narrow drainage tunnel behind the fence. Move! We vaulted over a broken section of the fence, scrambled down into the ditch, and squeezed into the tunnel. It was barely wide enough for two grown men. The smell of rot and mold was suffocating, but it was better than a bullet. Behind us, shouts echoed. Check the back! They're close! I shoved Damien forward. Keep moving, fast! Water splashed around our ankles as we crawled through the dark, the only light coming from the occasional sewer grate above. My mind raced. No plan, no clear exit. Just instinct. Survival. Finally, after what felt like forever, we popped out behind an abandoned warehouse 3 blocks down. I scanned the street. No sign of them. Not yet. Come on. I yanked Damien to his feet. There's a mechanic shop around the corner. Guy owes me a favor. Adrian, Damien's chest heaved. I can't keep. I spun on him. Oh, you're gonna keep going. You dragged me into this mess. You don't get to quit now. His eyes darted, fear swallowing him whole. Why are you helping me? After everything I did to you. Why? I paused, looked him dead in the eye. Because you don't get to choose who you become in a crisis. You either become the person you pretend to be, or the person you really are. He blinked, stunned, speechless. We rounded the corner. Sure enough, the mechanic shop was still there, Manny's Auto. Old friend from back in my courier days. I banged on the metal door. It slid open a few inches. Who's Adrian? Manny squinted. Man, what the hell? Need a car. Something clean. Off the books. Right now. He glanced past me, spotting Damien. Whoa, this smells like heat, brother. Yeah, a lot of it. Can you help or not? Manny scratched his chin. I got something. Old Crown Vic. Retired taxi. No plates. Runs like a beast. Perfect. I shoved a wad of cash into his hand. Everything I made in the last week driving. Fill the tank. We're gone. Minutes later, we rolled out in the Vic. Paint faded. Windows tinted. The perfect ghost car. Damien clutched the hard drive like it was his last breath. Okay, okay. We've got the files. What now? I took a deep breath, gripping the wheel. Now, we burn it all down. His eyes widened. You mean, leak it? Not just leak it, I grinned. We bury Alex. We bury everyone involved. I know exactly who to send this to. Journalists, regulators, law enforcement, people who hate guys like him. Damien stared at me like I was someone entirely new. You're not the man I used to know. I laughed under my breath. No, Damien, I'm not. Turns out, rock bottom teaches you how to fight like nothing else does. But as the city lights blurred past, neither of us noticed the motorcycle slipping into traffic behind us. Silent, following. This wasn't over, not even close. The Crown Vic cruised through the midnight streets, engine humming low. Damien was glued to his phone, copying files, encrypting folders, breathing fast like every tap of the screen was a countdown. Who exactly are you sending this to? He asked. An old client, I said, eyes scanning the rearview mirror. Investigative journalist. Ruthless. If she smells blood, she doesn't stop until there's a headline. Is that safe? I shot him a sharp look. You wanted safe? You should have thought of that before stealing from international criminals. He sank into the seat. Fair point. I dialed a number. 1 ring. 2. Then a click. Hello? A familiar voice answered. Jamie. It's Adrian. A pause. No way. After 3 years? I thought you fell off the map. Yeah. Well, I've got something. Big. Dirty money, corporate fraud, criminal laundering, names, documents, proof. You still hungry? Silence. Then, you serious? Dead. Send it. I tapped the drive, uploading the files to a secure link. Check your inbox in 5. But just as the bar hit 30%, a sudden burst of light flashed in the side mirror. Headlights. Close. Too close. I squinted. Motorcycle. Black. No plates. The rider wore a helmet, visor down, creeping closer. Damien. I murmured. We've got company. He twisted in his seat, panicking. Is it? Yeah, stay low. The rider closed in, swerving left, then right, inching toward my driver's side window. That's when I spotted it. A glint of metal. A gun. Hold on, I snapped, slamming the brakes. The Vic jolted backward. The motorcycle overshot, swerving hard to recover. I slammed the wheel left, tires screaming, gunning it down a side street. Adrian! Damien shrieked, ducking. They're shooting! Glass shattered as a bullet tore through the rear window. I jerked the car right, clipping a fire hydrant. Water exploded into the air behind us like a geyser, temporarily blinding the biker. Come on, come on! I gritted, flying through intersections, dodging taxis and late-night drunks. The motorcycle recovered, gunning after us. But this wasn't my first chase. I knew this city's guts better than anyone. I punched it toward a construction site. You're not serious, Damien stammered. Dead serious. We hit the ramp. Tires left the ground. For a split second, the world froze, then slam. We landed on the other side of the barrier, skidding hard. The motorcycle wasn't so lucky. The rider braked too late, clipped the edge of the ramp, and went airborne, smashing into a dumpster with a sickening crunch. Silence. Damien's jaw hung open. Did that just happen? I caught my breath, hands shaking. Yeah, it happened. He slumped back, panting. Adrian, you're not a driver. You're something else. But before either of us could process it, my phone buzzed. Jamie. Her voice was sharp. Adrian, where did you get this? This is the kind of thing that starts federal investigations. Yeah, I said, wiping blood off my temple. And I've got more. But we're not safe yet. Keep digging. Blow it up. You got it. As I hung up, Damien turned to me, eyes wide. What now? I glanced at the wrecked bike in the distance, then back at the road ahead. Now? I cracked my knuckles. We finish this. The city never felt louder. Sirens in the distance, tires screeching. Somewhere someone was screaming, but not at us. Not yet. I pulled the battered Crown Vic into an underground parking structure 5 blocks away. Out of sight, at least for now. Damien's hands were shaking so hard he could barely hold the hard drive. We're dead. He muttered. "We are so dead." I grabbed his collar, yanked him close. "No, you listen to me. We are not dead. You're only dead when you give up. You hearing me?" His panicked eyes met mine. I say it. "We're not dead," he gasped. "Good." I shoved him back into the seat. "Now breathe. And listen." I pulled out my phone. The screen was lighting up with texts from Jamie. Headlines already being drafted. Attachments of court documents. Names of shell companies. Offshore accounts. She wasn't wasting time. The beast was awake. "Jamie's pushing the story out," I said, scrolling. "This is bigger than you thought, Damien. Alex didn't just sell you out. He's been funneling money for at least 4 different criminal outfits. Laundering, racketeering, securities fraud. If this hits the media, it's nuclear." Damien gulped. But then they'll come after him, right? Not me, right? I looked him dead in the eye. If we do this right, they won't just go after him. They'll rip his life apart. Lawyers, the feds, even his own partners. Everyone will want a piece. He exhaled, hands trembling. What do I need to do?" "2 things." I held up fingers. 1, you write a full confession. Everything. Your role, his role, the whole Ponzi scheme, the money laundering, everything. Put it in writing, recorded, signed. His face blanched. "That's suicide." "No, that's leverage." I narrowed my eyes. "If they find us, you hand them the confession. Plus the files on Alex. Show them you're useful. Show them he's a bigger liability than you are." He swallowed hard. "And the second thing?" I grinned. "You transfer every last dime left in that offshore account. Not to yourself, not to me, to a trust. One set up in Jamie's name. She holds it. She controls it. As insurance. You trust her?" "No," I said bluntly, "but I trust her greed. And her hatred for guys like Alex." He sat there, stunned. Processing. Then, slowly, nodded. Okay, let's do it." We cracked open the laptop again. The files, the confessions, the transfers, it all started flowing. 1 click at a time. But just as Damien hit send on the final document, a shadow flickered against the windshield. A voice, low, cold, deadly. "Step out of the vehicle, slowly." I looked up. Guns. 2 men, silencers glinting, faces masked. Damien whimpered. "Adrian, what do we do?" I gripped the wheel tighter, pulse pounding like a drum. "We stall," I whispered. "Just long enough." The barrels of those pistols looked like black holes. 1 twitch of a finger, and it was lights out. "Out, now." The taller one growled, tapping the window with the muzzle. Calm, professional. The kind of calm that only comes from someone who's done this before. Damien froze, his breath hitching so loud it felt like it echoed in the car. "Adrian." His voice was a ghost. "Easy," I murmured, hands raised. No sudden moves. I slowly opened the door, stepping out, palms facing them. Damien followed, stumbling, nearly collapsing under his own legs. "Keys," the shorter one barked. "Phone, wallet, everything." I tossed the keys and phone on the hood. "Take it." "Good." The taller one nodded. "Now, you're gonna come with us. Both of you. Quiet. Clean." "Hold on," I said carefully, keeping my voice level. "You don't need both of us. He's the one you want." I tilted my head toward Damien. "He's the problem. I'm just the driver." Damien's head whipped toward me, betrayal flashing across his face. "Adrian." "What?" The gunman chuckled. "Cute, real cute. But nah, boss says both." Boss. That word landed heavy. Whoever was behind this wasn't just sending grunts. They were sending cleanup. I glanced at the taller guy's wrist. Military-grade watch. Scratched, worn. His shoes, muddy, not from city streets. He wasn't local. Neither was the other one. Professionals. Flown in for one job. My brain raced. Think. "All right," I sighed. "If we're going, at least let me grab my jacket. Car's old, gets cold." I pointed to the back seat. "It's right there." The short one squinted. "Hurry it up." I opened the back door, pretending to fumble, and my fingers slid under the seat, right where Manny always kept it. My hand gripped cold steel. A tire iron, not a gun. but it'd have to do. In one motion, I spun. Crack. The iron slammed into the shorter one's knee. He screamed, folding instantly. I pivoted, driving the bar into the taller one's wrist. His gun clattered to the pavement. "Run!" I roared at Damien. But Damien stood frozen, paralyzed by fear. I shoved him hard. "Move!" We bolted, feet pounding the asphalt. The gunman shouted behind us, one limping, one scrambling for his weapon. A shot rang out. Pop. Silenced, but deadly. Brick dust exploded inches from my head. Another shot. Missed. We ducked behind a dumpster, gasping. Damien was hyperventilating. Adrian! Adrian! I can't." I grabbed his shirt, shaking him. "Get it together. They're not here to scare us. They're here to erase us." My phone. Gone. Their phones. Gone. No way to call for help. But then, a low rumble. Headlights. A van pulling into the alley. Doors slid open. Jamie. Standing there. "Get in." Damien blinked. "What? How? No time." I shoved him toward the van. We dove in, doors slamming shut, just as another silenced shot pinged off the metal. Jamie gunned it. Tires screamed as we sped out of the alley. She glanced back, wild grin on her face. "You didn't tell me it was this bad." I panted, laughing despite everything. "Yeah, welcome to the party." Damien curled into the corner, shaking, clutching the hard drive like his soul depended on it. Is it over?" I looked out the rear window, then back at him. "No, not yet, but it's about to be." Jamie floored it, weaving through side streets like she'd done this 100 times before. Her knuckles were white on the steering wheel, eyes sharp, focused. "Adrian," she barked, "what exactly did you drag me into?" Long story short, I glanced back. Corporate fraud, offshore laundering, betrayal, and a couple of very angry men with guns. She snorted. "Yeah, got that part." Damien was rocking in the back, knees to his chest, muttering, "We're dead. We're dead. We're dead." On repeat, like some broken doll. I reached back, snapping my fingers in his face. "Hey, no, not dead. Not yet. Snap out of it." Jamie hit a hard left, tires screeching. "Okay, listen. You're lucky I've got more than journalism in my blood. My cousin runs a cybersecurity firm. Dark web level. I called him the second I saw what you sent. He's already launched a trace on Alex's offshore accounts. And get this, he found a back door." Damien's eyes widened. "A back door? What does that even mean?" Jamie smirked. "It means your friend Alex got sloppy. The guy was so busy stealing from everyone, he didn't realize his own cloud storage was synced to an unsecured server. My cousin's pulling everything. Names, routes, transactions, even offshore beneficiaries." I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. "That's it. That's how we finish this." Jamie nodded. "Once this info goes public, Alex is done. His clients turn on him, his partners drop him, the feds pounce. He gets buried under a mountain of charges. But," Damien's voice cracked, "what about them?" He gestured vaguely, meaning the men with guns, the faceless suits, the shadows in the rear view. Jamie shot him a glare. "They're like sharks. They only care about one thing, money. You prove Alex is a bigger liability than you, and they'll drop you like dead weight." I nodded. "Exactly. And we're about to make him look like the Titanic." Jamie's phone dinged. She glanced down, then grinned wickedly. "Boom, it's live." I whipped out Damien's backup burner, pulled up the news. One headline after another. Breaking, massive fraud scandal uncovered in financial firm tied to international crime. Whistleblower leaks, explosive evidence of money laundering and Ponzi scheme. Federal investigators raid offices, multiple arrests pending. Damien stared at the screen, hands shaking. "Oh, my God." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I answered. A voice, deep, cold. "Message received. You are no longer our concern. Alex is." Click. Line dead. I exhaled. My hands trembled, not from fear but from adrenaline, from disbelief, from the sheer brutal reality that we might have actually survived this. Jamie pulled into a side street, slowing the van. "It's done. You're ghosts now. If you're smart, you stay that way. Damien leaned back, staring at the ceiling. I don't even know who I am anymore. I turned to him, locking eyes. Yeah, me neither. But I'll tell you one thing. I smirked. The guy you mocked for being just a driver? He just drove you out of hell. And as the city lights flickered on around us, I realized something. I wasn't just a driver. I was the one behind the wheel of my own life. The next morning felt unreal. Quiet. Too quiet. For the first time in 24 hours, no screeching tires, no gunshots, no death threats in my rear view. Just silence. Jamie dropped us at a motel on the outskirts of town. No questions asked, no goodbyes. Just a look that said, "You owe me." Damien sat on the edge of the motel bed, staring at the wall like it might swallow him whole. Adrian, I still can't believe we survived that. I poured myself stale coffee from the motel pot, watching him. He wasn't the same man who stepped into my Uber yesterday. The arrogance, gone. The smugness, vaporized. Now he was just a man stripped down to nothing but consequences. Believe it, I said, sipping. But survival isn't the same as freedom. His eyes flicked to me, hollow. What do you mean? I sat across from him. Look, the feds are coming. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. And when they do, you've got two choices. Run, or face it. He swallowed. If I run? I shook my head. You're a dead man. You can't outrun these people forever. You've seen what happens to guys who try. He went quiet. But if you face it, cooperate. Hand over everything. The files, the confession, the money you still have squirreled away. I leaned forward, locking eyes. You might survive. You might even walk. Someday. Damien buried his face in his hands. God, I've screwed everything. I didn't disagree. He had. But then, the knock. 3 slow, heavy thuds. We both froze. I reached under the pillow. The motel didn't provide security, but I had Manny's tire iron tucked right there. Another knock. This time, a voice. Calm. Controlled. Adrian. Damien. Open the door. Damien's face went pale. Oh no. It's them. It's... No. I held up a hand. Listen. The voice spoke again. This is Special Agent Carla Reyes, Financial Crimes Division. We're not here to hurt you. We're here to talk. Our eyes locked. Adrian, what do we do? Damien whispered. I stood up, took a breath. My hands hovered over the lock. We open the door, I said quietly, and we finish what we started. I unlocked it, pulled it open. 3 agents stood there, badges out, guns holstered. The woman in front, Reyes, nodded at me. Mr. Adrian, Mr. Damien, you've made quite the mess. Her eyes were sharp, calculating. But you've also handed us one hell of a gift. She smiled. Not warm, not cold, just knowing. Let's talk. The motel room felt like it shrank by half the moment the agent stepped inside. Agent Reyes moved with the kind of quiet authority that told me she'd seen it all. Crooks, con men, and cowards, and that we were just another file in a stack. She sat at the table, opened her laptop, and folded her hands. Let's get one thing clear, she started, eyes locked on Damien. You're not here because you're innocent. You're here because someone out there is worse than you. Much worse. Damien nodded weakly. I understand. She turned to me. And you're not exactly squeaky clean either. Accessory to obstruction. Aiding a fugitive. Tampering with evidence. Assault. But, she glanced at her laptop. Your little data dump changed the game. Alex just got picked up at the airport trying to skip the country. Half his accounts are frozen. We've got warrants stacking so high his lawyers are already choking. I leaned back, crossing my arms. Glad to hear it. Reyes clicked a few keys, then turned the screen toward Damien. This is what's waiting for you if you cooperate. On the screen, documents, plea deals, reduced sentences, witness protection options. You help us, Reyes continued, and you avoid prison. Maybe. You don't. She closed the laptop with a snap. Then I hope you like orange jumpsuits. Damien stared, breath ragged. I'll cooperate. Everything. I swear. Reyes nodded, like she expected nothing less. Good choice. She turned to me. And you, whether you realize it or not, you just became a federal asset. Congratulations. I snorted. Yeah, not exactly on my vision board. She stood, tucking the laptop under her arm. You'll both be debriefed. Transport's waiting outside. Once this is done, you disappear. New lives, new names. You got lucky. As she walked out, Damien sagged into the chair, head in his hands. I don't know who I am anymore. I looked at him, really looked at him. The man who once sat in a corner office laughed as he signed my termination papers, mocked me for being just a driver. Now he was broken, humbled, and maybe that was the point. I stood glancing at the mirror, at myself, the guy who thought he was at rock bottom, only to realize rock bottom was where you learned how to fight. Who you are, I said quietly. That's up to you now. I grabbed my jacket, walked toward the door and paused. For what it's worth, I added, glancing back. Thanks for getting in my car yesterday. I smirked. Best tip I've ever gotten. And with that, I stepped out. Not just into a new day, but into a new life. Because I wasn't just a driver. I was the guy who proved. Sometimes the one behind the wheel decides how the story ends.